The Green Knights are the best shooting team in the nation. They've made 56% of their shots all year. This game is not in Seattle, where the Seahawks are 26-2 in the Russell Wilson era. It's at Lambeau Field. The Packers complete a Hail Mary to force overtime, but then lose the coin toss and lose the game just 3 plays later. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. The Packers need a tight end and an inside linebacker, so I totally understand going for it. I don't understand why you don't use Eddie Lacy in that situation. Today, 23 rushing attempts for Detroit and only 50 yards. The Packers in 3 games this season have given up a grand total of 128 on the ground. Freak out. The Greek freak gets big bucks from the Deer. Giannis Antetokounmpo agreeing to a 4-year contract extension. The streak is over, 24-1. The Bucks beat the Warriors to stop the best start in NBA history. But the biggest story today was Jordan Spieth, the Masters and U.S. Open champion, climbing the leaderboard to contend in yet another major. The Badgers have already achieved a school record 35 wins, but here at the Final Four, that's not going to impress their competition. Every time a ball leaves the yard at Miller Park, Bernie Brewer knows it's slide time.
Ryan Braun just hit a 3-run shot out of here!
Green Bay had no great expectations when the season began, but instead of growing pains, they experienced a growth spurt, reaching the NCAA tournament for the first time in 20 years. Invisible in non-conference play, Greg Mays has showed up. Go ahead. Call them the St. Norbert Sharpshooters. You've always had notoriety for some of those toe-tapping catches. I brought along some clips for you. You got the toe tapper for a touchdown in St. Louis. You have the spinning corkscrew that got a lot of notoriety in New York. And this one, after not playing in the preseason, you opened the season in San Fran with that amazing catch. And then you do a little tap dance show in Cincinnati. This next one, I like to call this the, oh, I've done it again, Jordy Nelson against Detroit. I know you've been asked about it before, but what goes into making those catches week after week?
For the most part, I focus on the ball, let the feet go dead, and just try to drag them up. I mean, every one of them is different, and sometimes you're able to look down to see, where to place your feet. Sometimes it's just off instincts, and honestly, sometimes you get lucky.
Do you do anything besides just football drills to work on your footwork ever?
I don't. I've never taken ballet. I know that used to always either be the joke or the old school way, working on footwork was to take ballet. Never done anything like that. I can't dance to save my life. That
was my next segue, of course. Lynn Swan, famous for practicing ballet.
Never been a dancing man. Ask the wife that, no, I don't ever go on the dance floor. But yeah, I mean, there's some similarities. Obviously, pointing the toes and dragging them a little bit, they do that, but it's something I've never tried out and probably won't.
At first glance, Little Chute's Parker Weingard looks like every other basketball player. But then you realize he only has one hand.
I developed a blood clot when I was inside my mom, and from there it just stopped growing, I guess. They knew before I was born that I was gonna be missing my left hand.
Parker doesn't remember exactly when he started to realize that he was different, but he does remember the pain that realization brought.
It kind of frustrated me a little bit. I did ask my parents and my grandparents why I had only one hand and why I was different, and they just told me that's how God created me, and from that point when they told me that, I was good with it.
Weingard has used a no-excuses approach, working tirelessly to excel in the sport he loves.
Try and try and try and don't ever give up. That's kind of what my motto is in life.
Despite his handicap, Weingard was always destined to play basketball. In fact, his very first word as an infant, an indicator of his future.
Ball was actually my first word. It wasn't mom or dad. It was ball. It was kind of just fate. Through my whole life, basketball was such a big part of my life that it was easy to stick with it. It was kind of a pet peeve when I was younger that kids wouldn't respect that I could play basketball as well as them, and I think it really pushed me to be better.
Parker is a sharpshooter and has become the Mustangs' second leading scorer. And he's not just a one-trick pony. He can take the ball to the hole as well.
It really shows if anybody in the world has to overcome a challenge, if you put your mind to it and you work hard throughout your life, that you could get where you want to be.
Parker's first love will always be basketball, but he will continue his running career at the college level. The track star has run a 4:29 mile and is a cross-country standout as well. Dave Schroeder, Action 2 Sports.
From Action 2 Sports.
But I'll tell you what, hats off to you guys. Hell of a job. Enjoy it, all right, and appreciate it. It doesn't just happen. It's you guys, all right, and it's you guys doing it together. That is big time.
Big time. The Badgers achieving their second top 10 win this season, starting Big Ten play in style, knocking off the defending conference champs in impressive fashion against 8th-ranked Michigan State. Those visiting bunch of Badgers out to prove that last week's narrow escape of Georgia State was a fluke. Alex Hornibrook, his first start, hit St. Mary Springs grad Eric Steffes for the 7-3 lead. And on defense, Bucky would force 3 turnovers today. Sojourn Shelton jumps the route, and that led to this. Corey Clement back from his ankle injury. He's going to scoot in for the score. It was 13-3 after a missed PAT. 13-6 in the second half when R.J. Scott coughs it up and Leo Musso scoops it up. The man scored 80 touchdowns in high school, and he knows what to do with his hands on the ball. He takes it 66 yards. He's got the speed and the blocks, and it's 20-6. All of a sudden, it's not an upset brewing, it's a blowout. Late third quarter, Clement, why not? 30-6. The Badgers would hold Sparty out of the end zone. 30-6 was the final. Wisconsin's best defensive performance on the road against the top 10 team ever.
The kids played and battled. And
in Division III college football, check out the scores. Oshkosh with a 77-0 win at Northland. The 5th-ranked Titans are good. Well, bad news for the Packers defense on the eve of the home opener. Clay Matthews and Morgan Burnett officially ruled out. LaTroy Guion and Dayton Jones downgraded to doubtful to play as well. This on top of yesterday's news that Sam Shields will indeed miss a second straight game. So with the defensive stars shelved, it will be time for the offense to finally reemerge from its long slumber. Before his injury last preseason, we go back to 2014 here, Jordy Nelson was a force at home, catching 8 touchdown passes in 8 games at Lambeau, 7 of them going for more than 40 yards. Contrast that to this season, where Aaron Rodgers' longest completion to any receiver has gone for only 39 yards. Tomorrow marks the start of 4 straight home games, and it's time for the offense to get well.
Well, home games are important. Just got to take care of business.
Noon kick Sunday. Stay up late as Mike Daniels helps us break it down on Cover 2 at 10:35. Get ready for the Packers game tomorrow with my Fast 5 Pack Facts at WBAY.com.